Welcome back. Thanks for joining me again. What we're doing today is going to work on the S10. I'm going to start building it up now, get it ready. A couple weeks we're going to go over to a local off-road park, me and a few guys. I'm going to start off with the rock sliders. The reason I'm doing that is because everything else is going to build off of that. The rear hoop, the rear frame, whatever I end up doing there, I'm going to try to cut a little bit shorter. I might end up changing the suspension a little bit depending if I have time, because there is some weak spots in the frame and on the rear leaf spring hanger. But we're going to start with that. I'll show you what material I'm using, the length I'm going to do it, how I'm going to cut it, things like that, and then we'll go from there as far as getting the setup on there, put it on some jack stands, and then build the supports down to the frame off of that. That'll probably be this video. I'm going to end it after I do the rock sliders, and I'll do another one for the hoop and some of the other cage work. I've got another one coming up. I'm going to build the front bumper. Like I said, it's a suspension work, maybe a whole nother video depending on what I end up doing there. So we'll stick around, hit the subscribe button, whatever corner it's in right there. And thanks for joining me. Let's get at it. Alright, so the material that I'm going to use is for the rock sliders. This is in steel terms, it's a 4x2 because it measures the biggest ways first in tube anyways. So it'd be a 4x2 7 gauge, which is 3/16 basically. It's like a few thousandths difference. But you can see the thickness of the wall here. So what I did is I measured from here. It's going to go right into here. So it's going to slash right here and then come all the way back. And I'm going to overhang it back here about 2.5 inches. And then off of this is how I'm going to build the hoop up over, you know, in the crossbars and all the supports and everything after that. So what I'm going to do is measure out here 68 inches from that corner, that top corner, out to here, wherever 68 inches ends up being at. So I'm going to start with this. This will be my top side. So I'll end up doing a 45 or 60 or whatever I decide to do as far as that goes. It's hard to see that line, but it's going to be cut this way. So that way I can use this second piece for the next rock slider, and it will already have this one cut on it. It's going to save me about 10-15 minutes of cut time instead of starting down there, cutting this, starting down there, cutting this. You know, that way that I've already got my second cut done with it. So I'll probably, I'm either going to start here and then trim that end off, or vice versa. Then once I get those cut off, I'll cap the ends of them, and I'll probably end up using, depend on how much, like I said, if I end up going over 45 or whatever this is. If there's enough material here, then I'll just cut these end corners off, and I'll weld it to the end of here to box that back in. But I'll show you that a little bit more in depth when I get into it. But for starters, this is what we're going to start out with. I'm going to go ahead and get this cut. I'm going to use a protractor. You can use however, you know, whatever you want to do to get your angles. You know, just make marks on it. You know, and this tube generally when you get it in is pretty dirty, so you're going to wipe this all off first before you start making any marks, because otherwise your marks will just wipe right off. But we're going to start with this. Like I said, get the cuts on it. And I'll bring you back once I get it marked out, maybe right before I cut, and I'll show you what I'm using to cut it and all that. So here's the tool I'm using. This is just a Harbor Freight cheapy jobby. It's got the degree wheel right there. Just turn it to whatever degrees you want. What I did here in the end is tried a few different lines to see which one I like best. This is about 30, about 45, and that one's about 60. That one's too small. I would like a little bit more of a jump than that. The 45 is probably okay, but I'm going to end up going to this 61, at least on the front side. I just feel like that's going to give me a little more, if I go over something that needs to hit it and bounce under, it's going to give it a little bit more, area here to bounce it back. On the back side back here, I wanted to leave a little bit more strength into it, you know, from this distance here as opposed to being way back here, and then set my tube here. So this is where the rear hoop is going to go, like right in this area here, so it should still be pretty structural sound. But I'm going to do a 45 in the back side. You can do it however the hell you want. This is what I feel best doing. This is how I want to do it. So basically just take your little angle finder, square, whatever the hell you want to call it. Make my 45 here. And then I'm going to draw 90 straight across here, 90 straight across here, and then make this line on the other side. And get it as close as I can. You know, I'm just cutting it with a cutoff wheel. You can use a chop saw. If you got a bandsaw, do that. However you end up cutting it through. Torches, hell, you can do it with about anything. But this is the way I decided to do it, like I said, and then I'll go ahead and cap the ends of it in here, and then we'll get it up on there, and because it's going to sit this way on the truck, so this will be, you know, my tube's going to sit in here on the back side, so it's going to give me plenty enough surface to weld around. You know, it should be plenty strong enough. And then the front side, if I do end up doing anything like a front cage or anything to connect it to the front bars or anything like that, you know, that'll probably be strong enough, hopefully. Like I said, I could just do the 45 front and back and be done with it, but we'll see. You know, I could change my mind yet, so I'm going to go ahead and get this cut up. We've got the end trimmed up here. All I'm using is just my cutoff wheel on a grinder. A little tip when you're doing, when you get your marks made out on this top line right here, when you go to cut it, don't cut it straight on like this. Otherwise, it's going to be crooked here in this corner. It'll be crooked right there in that corner. You want to hold your grinder at the same angle as you did this cut on. So you're cutting like this. Just make your line down through. Don't cut all the way through on the first pass. Just hold your grinder at that angle and kind of score it down through there a couple of times, and then your grinder cutoff wheel will follow that path. And then once you're done, it'll leave you with a flat edge here, as opposed to if you cut it like this, it's going to leave you a little hump there. So that'll help you out in the long run. And like I said, this piece here, if it's big enough, I'm going to cut those edges off, both sides, and weld it right back on here, so I'm not wasting much material. So I got that side done, got this one marked out. Let me go ahead and get this one cut out and the next one cut out, and then I'll bring you back and show you the end pieces before I weld it. Alright, I got both sides cut, all my tubes are cut. Here's the end piece off from that one that was here. It's not big enough to cover that hole. Just I could probably fill it with weld, but I don't want to do that. I got plenty of material. I'm going to take that piece right there. I'm going to cut it all out. You can see if I cut those legs, see if I can get that to sit there a second. If I was to cut this straight out here, that would be right inside of this tube, so it would fall right in there. You can do that if you want. Personally, I like to leave a little on the side. So what I'm going to do is take this line across and cut it right there, both sides. This is how wide I'm going to need it. And that will give me right there on this line. If I cut it right on the edge of that line right there, that will give me enough material to weld. It'll leave probably 1/8 of an inch or so off the side. Let's try to do this like so. It'll probably leave, you know, like that much off the side there. That way I can get a good penetration weld on this piece and this piece. And then out of these two pieces of tube that I got, I have this left over, so I can get plenty of the rest of these caps all out of this piece here without wasting much material. Like I said, this could just be a throwaway piece and I can get them all out of there, but there's no sense of doing that when I can use this out of here and then just scrap this little bit. So, or even keep these, as these could be gussets or something later on. You know, I tend to keep a lot of this smaller stuff because I always have to go buy a couple of gussets like that. You know, you're talking $5 probably for a couple of them gussets, whereas I can just use this and it's the same damn thing. So I'm going to go ahead and get these capped up. I'm going to cut these pieces out, cap these up, weld them up, then I'll bring you back and show you. Alright, you can see, got the one welded on here. You know, I'm not a professional welder by no means, but I can lay down okay beads sometimes. I mean, all I'm using is this little Lincoln 135. That thing is 20 some years old. I've had it that long. I use a C25 argon mix. Cut all my pieces out of that. You know, other than that one piece I used. You know, there's one laying there I got to finish cleaning up yet. Another one laying in there I got to clean up yet. And then, you know, that's all extra stuff yet. So I'm going to go around, finish all these up. Like I said, it's probably not airtight. You know, it's what it is. It's going to be bouncing off rocks or logs or whatever. So I'll probably go back with a grinder, clean it all up. I got to do the same thing there and then on that one also. So I got 3 more of these to weld on. Once I get those done and finished up, then I'll get them mocked up next to the truck and I'll bring you back and show you what that's going to look like. Alright, get them set up on there. You see I got the jack stands underneath of it. Go away, dog. We got the shoulder point up front. I didn't want to go any farther forward than that because I'm eventually going to put some bigger tires on here and I don't know, I just want to make sure I got clearance here. Plus anything coming out of here hopefully shouldn't get jammed up in this small of a spot. But it does stick out a little bit. That's kind of butted right up against the body mount. But that does leave me a little bit of a room if I ever want to come off the side of there and do like an XO cage kind of thing on it. If I decide to, if not, that's fine out there like that. Then it leaves me enough room back here. There's probably about 2 inches, 2.5 inches right in there. When I build the cage on here, I got plenty enough room around here to weld the tube and then come up around, go across to the other side. So what I got to do now is get underneath there and figure out how I'm going to mount this to the frame. I think what I'm going to end up using, I think I have some 1.5" square 7 gauge laying here, which is the same thickness as that, just a little bit smaller, which would give me enough room around it to weld. And I'm thinking I'll probably do at least 3 braces in there. This one I may end up double bracing, coming off the bottom a little bit and going back over, just because that's where the main hoop for the roll bar is going to be at. I'll figure that out, I guess, once I get that far and figure out how I'm going to brace the rest of it. So I'm probably going to do like one up in here, one here towards the center, and then another one back here a little bit, because like I said, I might double brace here. So I'll figure that out. Once I get it figured out, I'll come back with you. Here's the layout I got. Front side, you know, it's got the bigger slash on it. This is about 6 3/4 inches. This is an 1.5" square 7 gauge wall. That should be plenty sturdy enough. And I got 3 of them across there. These 2 ended up being a little bit longer than this one. These ones are about 8 1/4. That one's about 6 3/4. What I kind of did is set it up on the truck, figured out where spots on the frame were that I could get to clean and weld to where it was still kind of centered in here. That one's pretty much about center. You know, that's about as far that way as I can go. And this one's about as far that way as I can go, because right here's the mount for the cab and stuff. This one here is kind of back this way a little bit. But if you remember, I did say once I put the roll bar on the back here, I'm probably going to come off the bottom side and brace it again down to the frame wherever I can get to, just for extra support on that. So that will probably end up getting something else, either off the side or off the bottom. I'll see when I get that far. But for now, I'm going to tack these in place, set them back in there, make sure they're going to work right, mark the locations on the frame where I have to clean off. So I'm going to just go ahead and put a couple of good tacks on here so that they don't break off when I move it around. This is adding quite a bit of weight to the truck, but I also wanted to make it strong. My intention with this is just to keep kind of going. I'm going to keep building it. More things break on it, I'm going to upgrade them, bigger, heavier stuff. I don't want to get to the point to where I have to worry about how much weight it's going to be and the huge axles and the great big tractor tires. I don't want to get to that point, but I would like to get to a happy medium point to where I can drive it, you know, trail ride it, whatever, without too much worry about breaking it. Like I said, I'm probably going to end up going straight axle front and back. Well, straight axle front, rear's already axle or already straight, but I would like to get to that point eventually. But as of right now, I'm trying to keep it as low cost, but still pretty usable, pretty, you know, I want it to be kind of capable. So that's kind of why I'm doing this a little bit. So if it bangs off stuff, I'm not too worried about it, but this is just kind of something I wanted to do along the ways. These come out of a remnant bin at my local steel yard. So this total right now for both rock sliders, caps, tubes, everything like that, I'm probably about less than $100 I'll be into them, all said and done. That's all the tubes, all the caps, you know, cut off wheels, everything like that. I'll be probably under $100 on these rock sliders. I don't think I could have bought a set this heavy duty nowhere near that or had anybody build them for me. So that's why I'm doing it myself, adding them to this. You do not have to do this part right now. You could just take this out. I mean, you could take it out in stock form and wheel. Like I said, I wanted to be a little more capable. I wanted to show what you can do. Kind of on a lower end budget. I'm trying the best I can to stay under $1,500 and still be relatively capable. I'm going to go out in a couple weeks with it, so I'm going to try to hurry up, get this thing done. I said I got to finish this out. I got to build a front bumper yet. I got to fix back here yet. This frame shackle right here, where the leaf spring connects to it right inside of there, is pretty bad. I'm trying to decide whether I want to cut this all off, tube this across here, and build new shackle mounts, because I do want to keep the leaf springs. I don't think I want to go full length, even with all the upgrades. I think I want to stick with leaf springs on it. not 4-link coils, all that. I was going to originally coil it, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the leaf springs. Maybe eventually get some lifts or even do some spring overs on the axles or something to get the lift out of it. But we'll see, that's down the road. I'm going to wheel it like this first. So anyway, back to the rock sliders. This is what I'm going to do first. I'm going to get this tacked in. I'll get it set up in there. I'll probably bring it back once I get it the rest of the way figured out, fully welded, once I get it onto the truck. Once it's on the truck and done, I'll bring you back, show you the progress of it. I'll do both sides, and then I'll show you back what that's done, and that'll probably end this video. And then the next one will either be working on this suspension here or getting the tube. I do have a Harbor Freight pipe bender that I have used before, and I had some pretty good success with bending tube in it and not kinking it over. But at the same time, I do have someone local to me who has a tube bender that I'm going to try to get a hold of and see what it would cost me to have him bend this main hoop for me. If he can do it within the time frame allotted, within the next couple of weeks, I'd like to do that. But I may not have this hoop on there and that process done yet. We'll see how far I can get and what it would cost me to get that done. If it's not very cost effective, I'll try to figure something else out. So, well, like I said, I'll bring it back once I get these up on there. There's a little bit of rambling there talking about future plans, but got them welded together. This is the passenger side. I double checked everything. Basically, these are in the exact same spot. Welded them on there, and I'm going through and using this TSP substitute. It's basically just a cleaner. This is just a Walmart stuff that I grabbed, just for prep. Cleaning metal, wood, brick before you use it. Of course, I dropped this down here, and I got this Rust-Oleum truck bed. Pro grade undercoating stuff that I'm spraying on there. I don't know if it's going to do a ton other than make the metal so it doesn't rust up. That's basically all I'm going after, because anytime you weld, that's pretty much just the point to start rusting it. Plus these are all bare metal all the way across, so I'm going to go ahead and hit it with these. Just leave a couple inches on the end of here so that when I weld them to the truck, and I'll go back through and wipe it all down and everything. But go ahead and get that done, and I'll get them back on there like I said, and I'll show you once I get them welded on. Alright, there it is. Got it on there, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Welding to the frame kind of sucked. Getting underneath there with my little welder. Had a hell of a time, so this may fall off yet. I'm going to hope like hell not. I'm not a professional welder by no means. But I've jumped up and down on it, kicked it around, hit it with a sledgehammer. It hasn't fell off yet. I'm going to roll with it. If this is anything you're going to worry about, piling all your family and everything like that into and off of this cage and everything and thinking on rolling it over, have a professional do it. Like I said, I'm just a hack doing this shit, just doing it down cheap. Like I said, I probably may never use these damn things, but I think they look cool, so been wanting to build a set. Like I said, it's holding for now. We'll see. I'll show you. I'm going to be straight up with you on everything on here, so if it falls off, I'll tell you. I'll get something, figure out some better way to hold it on to there, bigger welds or whatever it may take. But we'll see. As for now, I'm going to roll with it. I got to put the passenger side on yet, but it's pretty much the exact same thing. That's going to end this video with the rock sliders. I'm going to be working on the bumper next, probably get that done. Like I said, if I can't get this cage bent here before I go to the off-road park, so be it. I don't plan on getting on anything too crazy and rolling over or nothing, but plans change, so stick around. I'll show you a video on that. I'm hoping to have a video of a bunch of us going through there. Probably be a pretty long video, but hopefully some entertainment in it anyways. We get the other side done. Hit the subscribe button, one of these corners here. Thanks for watching. Stick around. Got a bunch more coming up.